Yeah, so interestingly, last week I was on in one of the country visits, and I was asked something very similar. What is your leadership style, and how do you, what do distinguished leaders have, whether it's a man or woman, irrespective of that? And I was just thinking back of my career over the last close to 3 decades now, and I said to myself, I've always had big, bold goals. Yeah, and I think that's very important for a leader to have big, bold goals for ourselves, for the society we live and breathe, for the teams that we work around. So having big, bold goals, it sets us something to look forward to every day, right? So I think that was one of the stuff. Whether it's business, whether it's your personal life, professional life, you need to have a big, bold goal, and you need to go and chase that. The second one, I think, is good leaders are very decisive and they lead from the front, right? And that's a quality that any good leader must have, especially in an environment which is fiercely competitive today. And when tough situations arise, I think the leaders who survive are the leaders who are bold, courageous, quick to take decisions, of course, informed decisions. So that's another quality that I have always admired, and I've always tried to emulate that in myself as a leader. And another one that I always feel, which is very critical, especially post-pandemic, but I think it's relevant in all times, is the empathy that we have, the EQ as they call it, right? So very important for any leader to have that empathy, whether we are talking to our partners, to our customers, to our clients, to anyone around us. That empathy can really move mountains. So if I was just to look at these three, maybe there are many more of those, but these three were like on top of my mind. And I just told the guys, have big, bold goals, be decisive, take your decisions quick, move, be swift. It's a very dynamic, volatile world we live in, and be empathetic in what you do, and be your authentic self. Inheritant, it's a combination of an inherited and an acquired skill.
Okay.
Whether it's empathy, whether it's big, bold decisions, whether one is part of our personas that we grow, we are born with, we grow and we learn. But yes, you're right. When it comes to really decision making, it takes the experience to have that wisdom to say, well, I'm taking this experience, but also the fact that because I'm never averse to taking risk. Yeah, so you have to be a pro risk taker to say, okay, fine, I'm making this decision. Maybe it may not be right. Okay, am I going to play? Am I going to win? Am I going to lose? So it's very individual. It's very personal. But yeah, in my case, I think I have it inherited, but I also acquired the skill as time went by. It's been an experience of 30 years behind me now, and I learn every day. So I'm a lifelong learner. Yeah. So I will still continue to make mistakes, and I will continue to learn. When I joined the tech world way back in 95, it was rare to see women in tech, especially in frontline sales and marketing roles. There could be a lot more at the back office, operations, HR, logistics, finance, but it was rare because this has been always, and I think it still continues to be. There's a lot of change that has happened over the past few decades, but it still continues to be a very, very male-dominated world. As an example, for Omnix, out of the 250 employees I lead, 85% are male. Yeah, maybe about 10 to 15% are women. So it's never an easy ride, but we as women also need to owe and take responsibility of navigating this, whether we bring in a mentor with us who kind of coaches us, guides us. We need to be at pace with what's happening in the technology world. We need to speak up for our rights, voice them out. So a lot of women accept a lower pay just because I'm a woman. But if a man and a woman have an equal or a competitive skill set, and they understand technology, they come from a similar industry, similar backgrounds, then there's no reason why a woman should accept a lower pay than a man. And I think there's a lot of work going around globally on this to kind of manifest this early in the organizations, that women leaders should be brought in when when organizations are being seeded. So I think there needs to be a lot of women leaders who advocate for this cause. There needs to be a parity in the pay, so that it's pay per performance, it's based on meritocracy, and it's not just mediocrity, a person who's not able to deliver. So whether irrespective of a man or a woman, I think that equal treatment is super important. And I think the very critical piece also is that we have to stand up for our own rights, in terms of when we get promoted, how we're going to make it work. To have that skill set, so we have to continuously learn, grow, develop our own skill sets as well. It's not that I have my college degree and I should be okay with it. I need to understand what are the trends, how's the market changing, what are the emerging technologies, what's happening in the world around me. I think so. Part of the responsibility, I would say, or majority of the responsibility, is on the women who want to be in the tech world today. Of course, it's always a combination of who my employers are, who the employees are, how do we build the team, what kind of culture we imbibe, in the organization. So when I joined Omnix, and this was July 2021, it was kind of a lopsided situation, because there was not a single woman leader in this organization ever. So there was nobody who was really leading from the front. Very few female employees were there. And when I decided to make the change, there was a lot of resistance from employees who have been here for like over 2 decades. A woman coming and being on the driving seat, trying to lead from the front. What changes is she going to do? So I was on the radar for a good 6 months, until things changed. The culture became more positive, people became more acceptable to each other, the performance improved. So there are lots of things. It's very, very challenging. The ride is never easy, but yes, it's the bend, not the end. That's what I always say. So we just keep going. That's it. By design has been in this region for the last 36 years. Okay, and we are basically a solutions and services provider across the Middle East. That's what Omnix International is. And I lead the team in terms of sales, marketing, and technical operations from Omnix Engineering and Foundation Technologies, which is a segment, or which is a big part, an integral part of Omnix International. So I joined this team in July 2021, and I joined them as the head of engineering for this business unit. And then in March 2022, I was elevated to the role of the vice president for Omnix Engineering and Foundation Technologies. What attracted me to Omnix vis-a-vis all the multinationals that I work for is that I have a 360 holistic view of the business. When I have worked with any of the multinationals, this is my role, looks more like a funnel. You put into there and you keep growing, keep developing your skills around that funnel, but nothing really changes more than that role. A few companies today encourage that every 3 years employees should move on, they should find another role within the company. So there is a change in the face of the business, both for the employee and the employer. In Omnix, I've had this opportunity of having a 360 view. So whether it's HR, operations, business, finance, procurement, and of course the leadership team that I continue to work with to kind of differentiate ourselves in this competitive world. How do we grow? What makes us unique in the way we deliver business? So I think it's been a good journey for me, because I've had all my years in multinational companies, and working here for Omnix, which is more a localized solution services provider, is very, very different. And plus I get to innovate a lot. So I have 3 business units. I want to see how are we going to grow the value added distribution business. The second, I'm looking at, okay, these are industry software solutions group, bringing in a lot of niche technologies like the drones and very high end scanning solutions, artificial intelligence, machine learning. What do we do in that? Then the third piece of my business is BIM and drafting services. What do I need to go and do? How do I go win projects? So I think there's a lot of versatility in my role. So there is something new for me by the hour. Plus, although I'm based in Dubai, which are the headquarters for this company, but I also get to travel a lot into Saudi, into Oman, Bahrain, Qatar, Kuwait. So I look after the region as well. The dynamics of that region is different. Everything is growing. It's changing. So I think it's more to do with with the business that I manage, at a leadership level from the headquarters, plus how do we make the impact and how do we influence the countries which are growing equally, smarter and faster as well. For me, as a leader, Mark, I always believe people buy from people. That's really the key, right? And interestingly, I also always have this analogy between a thermometer and a thermostat, right? So someone wise, and this is real when I wrote it off as well, that somebody really asked me, are you guys thermostats or thermometers? And the difference, okay, is the thermometers, they read the temperature in the room, yeah, and we must decide where we are going and what we are doing early enough in our lives, and that starts to impact personally and professionally as we move along our careers, our paths, or whatever. And the thermostats are the ones that actually read the temperature, or they create the temperature in the room. So we have to understand whether I want to read the temperature or whether I want to create the temperature, and that is a thermometer versus a thermostat life strategy. And I've always believed in it. It's always resonated with me in everything I do. Yeah. So agility is very, very important. I always say to my team, we have to be growth hackers in today's fast moving dynamic world. It may work, it may not work. We ask for investments, we may get, we may not get. We don't know what the ROI looks like. But we have to continue to live, think, dream about the future. Where am I going to be in the next 5 years with this company I work for, with the teams I work for, with the people I work for? So we have to create that vision, that mission of what is our path ahead. Yeah. And therefore, for me, people first is super important, because if the teams that I work for, they are happy, everything else falls in place. If I walk into an office, it's an unhappy environment, it kind of negates, and it's a pessimistic environment to be in, let me put it that way. So I think that's for me it's very, very important. And as I always say, great teams aren't a product of great workplaces, but great workplaces are a product of great teams. Yeah, so we have to always have a very conducive, very nice, friendly environment, I would say, very positive, very optimistic, so that people love when they come to the office, they work, they give in their best, they go back, their families are happy, they're happy when they're here, they get rewarded, they get recognized for what they do. So yes, I'm a very, very strong, firm believer of a people first organization. And I think that's a big culture change that I would say it's been my contribution to Omnix over the last 20 months, has been to really change the culture. And this has also led the organization to accept me as a woman leader. Right? Our parent company is based, it's the Al Imtiaz Group. They're based out of Kuwait. So you can imagine, I mean, it's a very conventional organization. Not a lot of women leaders around. As I said, you have a handful of them into multiple back office roles. So for them, it's been a big change. For me, it's been a good learning and a big change. For the organization to accept me, for me to accept the team. So I think, yes, people have to be the priority for any organization to be successful.